How does one describe an inferno? Everything went silent. The clattering of the ammo cans and banging of equipment vanished. The engine's roar went mute. My own voice disappeared. Sound was swallowed up. Searingly bright flames engulfed what had been the dark cavity of the Humvee's interior. There was no horizon. There was no village. There were no other humans close beside me. There was only blinding, devouring fire. I had the strange sensation of sinking down into my seat, like I was strapped into a roller coaster racing up an incline. I didn't realize that the Humvee had been hurled upward by the blast. We've hit an IED. A dim, horrific realization. All of it in a millisecond. But time had slowed down, enough that I could register the strange horror of deafness, blindness, the sinking, the fire. I was strapped in, with my seatbelt on, trapped. Yet even as I tried to absorb the sensations of dying within the confines of my power, I was released. I felt the force of the vehicle being blown into the air, but I never felt it land. Somehow, I was standing. I was outside the vehicle. I was on my feet. There wasn't time to register the strangeness of this, the miraculous improbability, because I was on fire. The blinding orange flames had followed me. I was out of the engulfing inner space of the vehicle on fire, but now I was the tinder. The bright orange light was inescapable. My face was burning. There were horrible sensations, searing heat, my flesh, the smell of it, agony. Almost worse than the pain of burning flesh was the sense of isolation. Everyone else in the vehicle must be dead. How could they survive? Any others were surely engaged in the fight. We had driven into the middle of gunfire and mortar blasts. I couldn't see how it might be developing. It might be escalating. Even if someone else could see me, how could they get to me? Panicked realizations hit. I am burning. I am alone. I am dying. Instantaneously, and for the first time in my life, I realized with utter certainty that I had encountered a situation where I had no control over the outcome. The severity of my circumstances was overwhelming. This man-made inferno was about to kill me, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. I had zero expectation that anyone, especially myself, could save me. The only hope I could appeal to was my Creator. Surrender. I threw my arms in the air and screamed out, "Jesus, save me!" I dropped to the ground and began rolling, trying to extinguish the flames. But the powdery moon dust of the Kandahar desert couldn't compete with the fire's greedy consumption of my body. I smelled diesel and fertilizer chemicals. Realizations crashed against each other. I was sitting directly in front of the fuel tank. The fuel tanks were full of diesel for the drive back to CAF. The homemade explosives of the bomb blew upward. I'm covered in diesel fuel and the residue of homemade explosives. All of it burning. All of me on fire. Something pierced through my deafness. A primal, guttural scream. I realized with horror it had come out of me. I got up again and ran, giving into a primal urge to flee the danger. It only made the flames more intense. Desperate to see anything or to wrestle some relief, I ripped off my helmet. But that only fed the flames. They rose higher, licking my eyebrows, too intense for my eyes. I had to close them. Darkness again. I threw myself back down in the dirt, face first. The scream came again, and it was terrifying.